time, we have been asked to talk about some topics in the transportation trucking world, and so I guess we'll just get started here. Chris, what are your thoughts or your perspective on the irregular schedules that we have?
Well, we try to run drivers, or let drivers operate in the fashion that they want to operate. We like to try to set them up to work the hours that they like to work. Obviously, in the trucking industry, that's not always possible, but we always go into it with the mindset of, hey, how do you want to be worked? We always try to let drivers know on the interim that most of all of our operations involve some type of weekend work. So we try to be transparent about that. But, as far as irregular schedules go, we have to service our customers, obviously, but we try to stay away from the irregular stuff. Like if we start a driver out at 10 a.m. On Monday, we want to try to keep that driver around that same time frame, the entire 70-hour period. So that's kind of how we.
And when you say, this is something we always talk about as well, being a driver it's a lifestyle, right? It is not just a normal, your average, everyday job. It is a lifestyle that involves everyone in your family, anybody who you is in your circle, so to speak. So it is something you've got to be more mindful and manage, and it's tough. There's no other way around it, no other way to slice it. So anyway, how about the balance between home time and pay? What are your thoughts on that, Chris?
Well, in general, I guess I would say that, home time, we can provide that. But the more home time that you require, obviously, is going to lessen your ability to earn more. So the drivers that will typically get out, work their full 70 hours, or work their full hours that are available to them each week, and spend a night or two out on the road, even if they are considered a local quote unquote top driver. Though that night or two out would typically allow them to add a load or two to their week, which would increase their earnings. But if you want the home time, we have at most every terminal we got, we can offer it. But we do need drivers that are able to work a full schedule and put in that time every week in order to service our customers the way that they expect us to.
That'd be the toughest part to me. It's just being paid variable pay like that. Like you mentioned, the more you work, the more you earn. The less you work, the less you earn. It definitely one of the challenges, and I think I'm probably going to say that word every topic we discuss here. But definitely the balance. I think you have to be real mindful of how you spend your off time as well. The irregular schedule that we talked about earlier, the difference in home time there just makes truck driving a pretty tough job. All we hear, we just talked about it with the first two topics, is work, time, manage, which doesn't leave a whole lot of time for yourself, right? For managing your mental health and your physical health. It's tough, isn't it?
It is. The thing about health issues is, we always try to ask the drivers to, when you do have that time out of the truck, when you are on your 10-hour break, manage your time. Try to get your rest. That's, after all, that's what you're off for. You're off to get your rest and be prepared to come to work, ready to work the next day. It's just so very unhealthy, and it leads to other issues down the road if you're trying to burn the candle at both ends. And that's one of the things that we try to, a lot of our driver managers try to explain to drivers is, it's very important that you manage that time off and that time out of the truck to be prepared to come to work with a ready mind and a ready body and an able body to do the job that's required. Truck driving is a very demanding job. It's a very tough job. Everyone that comes through orientation every week hears me say that. But it's one of the most critical jobs as far as keeping this country moving. So it's very important, and we try to encourage drivers to be very proactive in taking care of their health, doctor's appointments, things like that. We ask them just to give us as much notice as you can, but take care of yourself. Do the things that will allow you to be ready and to be fit to get in that truck and be a professional truck driver and get the freight moved.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And one of the things about being driving a truck is the hours. They're typically longer than the average worker. And so it gets, they deal with everything. I told Brooke earlier, it's, they deal with everything that we deal with, but having to work so many more hours in a day or a week. So, Chris, you said it as well. It has to be something that is managed, and it's tough to do. It is, but it is mentally and physically. You got to take care of yourself. One of the tools that every driver uses is the truck and the trailer, and every machine, as we know, is going to eventually break down, give out on us, and so be very diligent. I know I'm probably you've heard this before, but make sure you're doing the inspections, make sure you're doing those DVIRs, and let's make sure the shop knows what's going on. And so because there's nothing worse, right, than a breakdown. Working a long day and then something happens that you can't control, or something we hear from time to time is, nobody wrote this up, and now I'm having to handle it. So, the better we can keep our equipment, the easier and safer your jobs will be.
Absolutely, Eric. And one of the things that, I kind of want to go into, we get a lot of questions, our driver managers get a lot of questions from drivers, new drivers, and some old drivers that it's pertaining to, well, how do I handle the communication part of the mechanical issues? So it starts with, as Eric said, it starts with pre-tripping the equipment. Make sure, don't take anything for granted. Take the time, check everything on that trailer. Make sure that it's ready. Check everything on that truck. Make sure that it's ready. If it's not, we ask, obviously in operations, we ask that your first call be to dispatch. Call your driver managers, call night dispatch if it's after hours, call weekend dispatch if it's on the weekends. Get that information and that communication to the operations folks so that we can get into the process and begin the process of letting the customer know what we're facing. Because a lot of times when you run into mechanical issues, it's gonna create a delay. So get that communication to them first. Then your next call would be to the mechanical side. Call the shop manager, during the week, or if you're at the terminal, if you park at the terminal location, simply go in and see that shop manager. Let them know what you're dealing with. They're probably going to, ask you to do the DVIR and put it on the pre-trip so that they can have a record of it in their system. But make sure that you're checking this stuff and getting it fixed before you get out on the road, as well as post trips. It's just as important to post trip this stuff, because what we see so often is drivers will use the equipment, come back, do a post trip with clean inspection, no issues. Next driver comes in, problem. Maybe it's a broke handle, maybe it's a bad valve, maybe it's a bad aerator or a dome lid leaking. But it's just things like that help it helps everyone to be so much more productive if everybody's doing their part and getting these communications out to the shop folks as well as the operations people. We appreciate every one of you. The current driving force, we know that we've got some of the best and most professional truck drivers in the industry, and we appreciate everything you do, and please, continue to let us know if there's anything that we need to do. We know we're not perfect in operations, and we always strive to do better. So keep the communication up, and let's keep working together to keep America moving.
We're going to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you've made it this far in the video, of course, we don't have all the answers, so if you have answers you'd like to share, we'd appreciate that. And thank you for what you do.